helps people, person like myself, and he's willing to go the extra mile to help anyone in any way he can.
I think he's a credible person. I have a lot of confidence in him, and that is one of the reasons why I would like him to get into the assembly.
We've been fortunate to have a whole generation of kids, young men and women, who have been influenced by his leadership, his skills, and his work ethic.
I'm Renard Moxam, and I'm offering myself to you, the Caymanian public, in the upcoming elections within the District of Georgetown. Let's get to know me. I would describe myself as basically a very confident person, a person who is very respectful of myself and others. I think in my early days I wanted to be different, wanted to be confident in who and what I am. I looked after my body quite well because I felt that that was a vehicle that would open some doors for me. And I worked hard at maintaining discipline and how I treated myself and how I went about living my life, what I ate, how I exercised, how much I exercised. And took great pride in looking after my body because I felt that that was a very important asset that I had. I'm a very passionate and loving father to my children. I am very loyal to my friends. And I'm very loyal to a cause and a task that I set myself in my life. I'm a hard-working, focused person. I also like to have a lot of fun. I like to laugh. I have a very quick sense of humor and appreciate others who have a keen sense of humor also. And but equally, I know my responsibility. I know the manner in which I need to conduct myself. And I think for the most part, I have not strayed too far away from that outlook on life. I was born in Georgetown, the District of Georgetown, specifically on Mary Street. I'm the sixth child in a group of 7 children from Rupert and Aldine Moxam. My dad originally was born here, but grew up most of his up until the age of 17 in the Isle of Pines, Cuba. My mother was born in the District of West Bay. And the relationship with both my parents were respectful. They were both very strong personalities. And I think some of those traits in their personalities are reflected in my own as I look back on their lives and the relationship I had with them and who and what I am today.
For me personally, as his son, as a friend, and someone who admires as a businessman, when I look back and see about how he grew up on Mary Street, he's always included the influences that made a difference in his life. People like Mr. Derek White and Brady and Albert Anderson and Ha and all them guys that he grew up with, Birdie, all them man there that he grew up with in Mary Street and from town, and how he's always been able to say no to the negative influences regardless of what everyone else is doing. But that group of friends, the people he's always kept it real with, he's always let his kids know how humble he grew up on Mary Street. You know, he didn't grow up with a lot, he didn't get a lot, people didn't give him nothing but opportunity. And I think that's one of the reasons that he's running right now is because he wanted to provide that same opportunity and give back to the people who would give him the opportunity. He worked so hard for his kids. I guarantee his life priority is his family and his kids. And I see that reflecting throughout the community, and a lot of people respect that about him.
Well, my kids, I was fortunate to become a parent at a very young age. At 18 years old, I was a father of my first boy, Johan, and subsequent to him, I fathered 5 of the children. And my kids, in a nutshell, is the focus of my life, and I really love and respect them, passionate about their well-being, and always striving to make sure the relationship is fantastic. Yes, we have some bumps along the way, and sometimes, yes, there's challenges in those relationships, but for the most part, they love me and I love them.
everywhere I go growing up, everybody talked about his football career and about how successful he was with that. And everybody called him Skip, you know, and because he was a captain. You know, he was a captain in the national football team at the age 17.
Well, the nickname was Skipper they gave me. That was the nickname they gave me, and some of my friends still call me that today. The young ones don't remember it, but the older ones do. I was fortunate enough to go on and become really, really good at sports to the extent that I played professionally in North America in what used to be the old North American Soccer League, wherein I played against some of the world famous players at that time, Franz Beckenbauer, Pelé, Carlos Alberto, a number of different players from that generation. I think that sports is one of the most important aspects or facets that a kid should have in his life. It brings so many things to young people's lives. And one of the things that it brings that's most important is discipline and respect for yourself. And I think that if you don't have those two fundamental components of the character, chances are that you may not be as strong as you could be if you had them. And I really believe that as we continue to build our society and our country, sports must be part and parcel of that development of our young people.
I've been visiting the prison every Sunday for the last 5 or 6 years, and my heart is really dedicated to those kids, the young kids that's in Eagle House, the prisoners, who I've talked with quite a few of them, and most of them come from broken homes, and they made one mistake, like a stupid mistake, and they're in prison. And when they come out, they have to go back to the same environment. And I think we need a mentor, somebody who they can look up to, who is credible, and someone who has a good track record. And I think Renard is the guy. He's my guy that I want him to work with these kids. These young guys that's roaming the streets and have no direction and just getting in trouble and doing stuff.
I'm passionate about the positive influence that sport can play in the development of people. I'm an example of that. I've learned so many things from sport. I've learned about discipline, positive attitudes, how to look after your body, how to respect your body, how to respect other people, how to win, how to lose, what integrity means in sport, sportsmanship, respect for the opponent. I've learned all those things as a result of my involvement in sport. And I know that the human being that I am today I would not be that human being without the influence that sports has played in my life.
As a football coach, from a young age, and understanding how that's translated into his work ethic, into business, and then contributing to make a positive difference within the community. And again, those are the things that you need to look at with each candidate, regardless of which party or wherever they come from. You have to look at it from each individual's perspective as what is it they can do. I believe that his success on the football field is directly related to his success off the football field because how competitive he is and his work ethic.
His business started right there in front of the Butterfield roundabout, and the Tortuga Rum Company's first outlet was next door. So we actually grew up our business as neighbors. And he could watch me grow and I could watch him grow. Mr. Moxam started from a shoe store, a sporting store, and then grew into the duty-free business, duty-free retail, and grew a big company. And also grew Island Supply from a small company. And so he has passed through the same sort of avenues that I've been through. I don't know what ministry he'll end up with, but one thing is for sure is that small business needs attention in the Cayman Islands. But the concessions need to be given to small business to create employment. And I'm not saying that the concessions must be 100%, but concessions are given to hotels and they're given to big developers. And small business in the Cayman Islands could become a bigger employer than the big ones that get the concession. Because if you look on the amount of small business that's registered in the Cayman Islands, if those business was to grow like Mr. Mox's business or my business that employed close to 200 people, you wouldn't have an unemployment situation in the Cayman Islands.
My business that I have been involved in 30 years is a tourism-related business, and I've been able to earn a decent living with that, follow through on all the promises I made to my staff in that company, train Caymaners to understand what is the true meaning of service and understanding that the customer and the tourist in particular, the tourist visit in particular, is the reason why they have a job. And letting them understand that and teach them to understand that, and joining them in the success of the business. And I think that can be duplicated across the board with the many talented young people that we have in our society today.
As kids, he never give us nothing that we didn't earn, and he not going to do the same thing in politics, because at the end of the day, he believes in earning what you work for. And so make sure you understand that this is not about somebody who you think is popular and got everything. Nobody, Renard Moxam worked for everything he have, along with so many other potential candidates in this election. Make sure you understand what you're doing this election, because this is not a time to be skinning up. You know, a lot of people will agree that this is probably the most critical and influential election in our country's history. You know, every election is important, but this particular one is truly going to define the next generation.
Well, I believe that, and my record shows that I've been able to build successful teams from the sporting field, football field, and in my business. And when you have positive synergies coming together, and you believe in a philosophy, you believe in a goal, in common objectives and in ideas, you can do this. And my record proves that I've been able to do that. And I believe that now, in this new UDP, we have such a team with the talent, with the multiple talents that we have. We believe that, and I believe also that with my experience in molding teams, I believe that the UDP is the only team in this country who can take all the issues that we have, address them honestly, get positive energy behind them, and drive these issues forward and make the best informed decisions possible for the future of this country. Now that you know me a lot better, I humbly ask for your support in this on May 22nd, when you go to the polls and choose your leaders for the next 4 years of this country. I believe I am qualified. I believe I'm experienced. I believe I'm talented, and I know I'm driven towards success for our country.
And I know if we give him that chance, he will be an excellent representative in our House of Parliament. So please do give him a chance. He'll do his endeavor best to help you. And that's why we need people like him.
First of all, you got to believe in who and what you are. You got to have an idea of what you want to do. You got to commit yourself to that. You got to be passionate about it. And you got to have a philosophy that involves total sacrifice and commitment towards your objective. You need to surround yourself with people of quality and with diverse talents from you. Expertise in different areas, but you need all of those things coming together in a synergy to drive your philosophy through and drive your idea through. Then you need to believe. You need to believe, and you got to be brave, and you got to fight, you got to compete, and you got to understand that today may have been tough for you, but tomorrow's another day. We're gonna go again tomorrow, and we're gonna do it together as a team. And believe you me, if you follow that, if you make that part and parcel of your philosophy, you'll be successful. It happened to me, but I surrounded myself with good people, and we believed in the same thing, and we drove our company forward. And we were successful many years back to back. And I believe I can bring that same thing into politics.